And a good Wednesday to you. The 24th day of June 2020 is upon us. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Good to see you. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Live channel. Another warm one today, but not quite as warm as yesterday as a weak cold front began to enter into the area overnight while you were sleeping. The good news, going to make the temperatures a little more comfortable. The bad news is going to elevate the fire risk. Not necessarily the next couple of days, but certainly over the weekend, because we're going to have a stronger cold front, a dry cold front that's going to come in later on in the weekend, into the weekend, which is going to really cool down our temperatures, but it's really going to pick the winds up. We're a little concerned about an elevated fire risk. We'll talk about that when we get to sports. As you might imagine, we have a lot of news to get to on this Wednesday. We'll touch on sports. We have a brand new opinion from Mike McNaughty. He came in and recorded a whole series of new opinions. We'll be rolling those out over the next few days, so you're going to see an opinion from Mike McNaughty you haven't had before. We'll also have the obscure holidays, some celebrity birthdays, and today in history. It is 70 degrees outside, which is pretty much what we were 24 hours ago. Didn't quite get to our forecast high yesterday. They were expecting right around 98, 99. That was what the National Weather Service was kind of right in that ballpark for yesterday's high. We only got to 93. Keep in mind that all of these measurements, when we talk about temperature, wind, barometer, dew point, relative humidity, all of that stuff, all of that is measured at Pangborn Memorial Airport. That's where the equipment is. So, because you have to put it someplace, I suppose. So even though it was only 93 up at Pangborn, maybe in some locations it felt a little hotter. In some locations, maybe a little cooler. We're going to be a little cooler today. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras a couple minutes after the hour. We say good morning to the valley proper. It looks to be pretty much the same angle that we chose yesterday. As you can see, when I woke up this morning, when I say woke up this morning, that's all relative. Long story. In any event, we had quite a bit of cloud cover. The clouds are already beginning to depart. If you look to the southwest, you'll notice that we'll have some blue skies coming your way as this weak cold front passes through. So temperatures are still going to be above average by quite a bit. In fact, we're going to warm, after a brief cool down today, we're going to warm up Thursday, warm up even more on Friday. And then late Friday is when that second cold front that's packing a pretty good punch will be coming in. That's when we start really getting a little worried about fires. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley proper from our cross camera at the top, at the very tip of Wenatchee Heights. Now, from this point forward, of course, Megan gets to decide what we're going to look at, and I have to guess. Is that the upper Butte camera in Chelan looking over to Waterville? That's something that Megan threw my way a couple weeks ago. Took me a little while to figure out what it is, and it's become one of my favorite cameras. So the camera itself, the tower where that camera is located, is actually on the Chelan Butte, where the the paragliders jump off and float around and all that stuff. And there's a lot of transmitters and repeaters and things like that up there. But of course, these are PTZ cameras, pan, tilt, and zoom. We can move them, so she moved it. Instead of looking at Lake Chelan, she moved it to the southeast, and we can look at the Waterville Plateau because it's about the same elevation, as you can see, as the top of the Chelan Butte. And you can see actually an orchard down there that's covered in that netting, probably a cherry orchard, I'm assuming, to keep the birds from eating the cherries. I think so, anyway. It's an educated guess. Camera number 3. Let's pay a visit to, that looks like McNeil Canyon. So that's kind of cool because the one we just showed, you could see a little sliver of McNeil Canyon, and now we can see the very top of McNeil Canyon as we look directly to the west at Lake Chelan proper. So the Chelan Butte is to your left, just out of view is that tower. So that's kind of a neat little juxtaposition there. Blah, blah, blah. Easy for me to see. Easy for me to say. So good morning, Lake Chelan. Good to see you. Still a few high clouds hanging around up there, but again, they'll be thinning out with quite a bit of sunshine for most of this Wednesday. Good morning, Lake Chelan. And finally, camera 4. Hello to, that looks to be Blag Mountain. I am correct. Good morning, Blag Mountain, high atop the lovely hamlet of Peshaston as we look down over Leavenworth and the beautiful Cascades. A spectacular view there. You'll see that little green little mountain right above Leavenworth. Not the one way at the top, but the one lower than that. That's where our Tumwater Canyon camera is that we use so often. In fact, you can actually see the Tumwater Canyon and the Cascades. Beautiful view of the Bavarian village of Leavenworth. Good stuff this morning. Looks like it's a little breezy at Blag Mountain. It's exposed. You get winds up there. It's It's one of those areas where you get little pockets of wind that gusts a little bit stronger up at the top of Black Mountain than it does at other locations. A couple of slides to show for you. And again, the elevated fire risk for central Washington is a little dicey, specifically today, but more importantly on Friday. It's not the kind of forecast that you want to see. Today we have a weak cold front, which is going to make the winds pick up a little bit this afternoon. The winds will be increasing as we go through the day. Later on this afternoon, we'll have winds about 25 miles an hour. But Ellensburg, Wenatchee, Waterville, Vantage, places like that are more prone to pockets of winds. We could have stronger gusts there, maybe around 30 miles an hour. The winds die down a little bit tonight. That is tonight. And then on Friday, it gets dicey again because we're going to have more wind. In fact, we're going to have gusty or at least breezy conditions really right through the weekend, Friday all the way through Sunday, as the second cold front comes in. And the cold front that's coming in today is dry. The cold front that's coming in over the weekend is going to pack a little bit more moisture, which is the good news, but the potential for especially dried out grasses makes the fire risk a little elevated. I wouldn't be surprised if they issued a fire weather watch of some kind or another, the National Weather Service, before this day is over. So that's element number one. Element number two, as we talked about the long-term forecast, we're going to cool down and we could even see a little bit of rain. So the long-term outlook, this is starting on June 28th and goes through Friday or Thursday, July 2nd. Again, we're looking at cooler than normal temperatures and a better chance than normal of getting some precipitation. So there you go. It's going to cool down, cloud up, and be a little bit more comfortable for those people who don't really like the heat. That's the long-term outlook. It's still going to be warm, though, for the next couple of days. From Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, who gives your home a hug. Here comes the van. Yep, there you go. Sunshine today, high of about 90. Going to be a little windy. It's going to start out breezy this morning as this cold front comes in. Northwest wind about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Picks up to about, 15 miles an hour or so in the afternoon, and then gusts above 20, certainly at times for the valley today. 61 for the overnight low with clear skies. Again, a little breezy at times tonight. Now, the cold front that's coming through today is going to be gone by Thursday, which is why we're going to warm up to 94 and then 96. So we're back to hot weather. But then Friday night, here comes the wind again. And this is the second cold front. And the second cold front that's coming through on Friday is going to be stronger, and it brings us a better chance of some thunderstorms and some rain and certainly cooler conditions. As you can see, on Saturday it'll be lots of sunshine, but only about 85 degrees. Normal, by the way, is about 80, so the temperatures that you see for the next 4 days, above normal, well above normal, really. Until we get to Saturday, and then Sunday we go the other direction with partly cloudy skies, chance of rain, and a high of only 77 degrees. Can't rule out a thunderstorm. It's a possibility on Sunday afternoon and Sunday night with instability in the atmosphere. So sunny and warm today with windy conditions. Sunny and warm Thursday without any wind. Sunny and hot Friday until we get late in the afternoon. Then here comes the second cold front. Going to cool us down. Going to be quite breezy Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. Windy right through the weekend. Considerably cooler temperatures, chance of rain, and an elevated chance of a wildfire. If a wildfire gets going over the weekend, it can really get going. We'll keep a very close eye on that. At your forecast at 9 minutes after the hour, we have a bunch of news coming your way in 1 minute. So grab your cup of coffee and your Danish and come back and join me. We'll fill your head full of the information you need with the news. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Hi, I'm Ricardo, and this is Amanda, and we are from Impact Auto Sales.
Where you can expect a hassle-free car buying experience. With our wide selection of used cars, trucks, and SUVs, let one of our friendly sales staff help you find the vehicle that fits your lifestyle. We have financing available for all credit types and great low rates for first-time buyers. Call us today at 888-8000 or stop by 3522 State Highway 97A in Wenatchee. Impact Auto Sales, where we strive to make an impact on your life and not your wallet.
And we are back on this Wednesday morning, 72 degrees. It's a mild start to the day. It will be just about 90 for the afternoon high. Quite a bit of sunshine, quite a bit of wind. Wind dies down tonight. Sunny and hot. Thursday and Friday, windy and cooler, and maybe even a little bit of rain coming up this weekend. And let's take a look at your news here. And we begin with Chelan and Douglas counties. Once again, we are falling behind one of the standards set by Governor Jay Inslee's phased reopening of the economy under the Safe Start COVID-19 plan. Inslee says for a county to move from phase 1 to phase 2, there should be no more than 25 cases per 100,000 residents in the most recent 2-week period. But in its latest report issued yesterday, the Chelan-Douglas Health District said Chelan County was at 33.7 cases per 100,000, and Douglas County was at 41.4 cases per 100,000 over the past couple of weeks. Chelan County has had a total of 293 people test positive for the coronavirus. Douglas County has had 199 positive tests. Neither county currently has anybody hospitalized for the virus. Now, last week, for the first time, both counties fell below the 25 cases per 100,000 benchmark. Chelan and Douglas counties, as you probably know, are in a modified version of phase 1 of the governor's reopening plan. Not so much to the east of us in Grant County. They had a spike in COVID-19 tests over the weekend. 63 new cases reported in Grant County between Friday and Monday. That's in addition to the 106 new cases that were reported last week. Currently, there are 7 Grant County residents hospitalized with coronavirus. The Grant County Health District said the latest cases were spread throughout the county. Some of the positive tests have been linked to one employer or others, to social gatherings or close contact with somebody with a confirmed case. Grant County was the first, of course, and hardest hit in eastern Washington in the early days of the pandemic, but it had improved enough that by May 23rd, they moved to phase 2 of the Safe Start reopening plan. The county had hoped to apply to phase 3 before cases started to spike again a couple of weeks ago. As you probably know by now, this morning, Governor Jay Inslee announcing a statewide mandate requiring facial coverings in public to slow the spread of the new coronavirus. Cases are on the rise all over Washington state. The statewide mandate requires people over the age of 5 to wear face coverings generally while they're in any indoor or outdoor public space. Masks will not be required outdoors if you can stay more than 6 feet apart from other people, and you don't have to wear a mask indoors, at home, or with others, or while you're alone in a car. Also exempt from the governor's order, people who cannot wear a mask for medical reasons, or people who are deaf or hard of hearing, specifically if they are communicating with another person. And there are other exemptions. It recognizes that, well, people have to remove their masks in order to eat at restaurants or at bars, or if you want to engage in recreational activity, either alone or with members of your household. The mandate goes into effect on Friday. Dr. Stu Freed is the Chief Medical Director for Confluence Health, and he says health officials and community leaders are asking residents of the area to volunteer to be tested for COVID-19. Freed said he believes the amount of viral activity in the community is actually pretty low, and that random testing could help prove that. For example, he said very few of the hundreds of people being tested at the hospital before surgical procedures are testing positive. The volunteer testing effort includes a series of public service announcements featuring leaders in the Wenatchee Valley.
What we're looking for right now is we're working through a method of getting random names and addresses of our community so that we do a scientific sampling of the region, including out to Lake Chelan and Leavenworth, Cashmere. And then we'll be sending invitations in the mail or stuffing mailboxes, essentially, with an invitation both in English and Spanish to community members to come into a local testing site and be tested. A completely confidential testing. It's also free. Our Our excellent health department is picking up the tab on this. And then our organization, along with Columbia Valley Community Health, in collaboration with Cascade Medical Center, Leavenworth, and Lakeshline Community Hospital, are kind of helping with the manpower and the organization. So this is really a collaborative effort, but we're not putting any of that burden on our citizens. All we need is a bit of their nose and a slight bit of discomfort to be tested. And then we would communicate the results. Those results are private, they're confidential, and then we communicate the results back to them.
As you all know, our community is suffering under the weight of this global pandemic.
We are collaborating with regional healthcare providers and community leaders to collect accurate information on the number of COVID-19 infections in our region in order to meet the requirements for reopening.
To collect this information, we need community members to volunteer to be tested for COVID-19.
Data from these tests are vital to getting our region's businesses open again and helping us manage future spikes in infection, protecting our community members while also keeping the economy open.
Testing is voluntary and results are completely confidential. Look for more information about this testing in your mailbox.
We value your individual health and the health of our communities. Thank you for doing your part to keep us healthy and resilient.
Speaking of COVID-19, if you're a business person and you want to plan ahead for phase 2, 3, or maybe even 4 during the recovery from coronavirus, you can get help today through the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce and the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. The museum is going to be hosting a virtual reopening Q&A session with chamber staff and healthcare consultants. It starts at noon today. You can join online through Zoom or Facebook Live. You can get details at the museum's website or at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center's Facebook page. There is other news this morning. The operator of an RV park that operated illegally for years near Dryden failed yesterday to have thank you. His name is Jeffrey Jones. He appealed the Chelan County decision first to Superior Court, and then yesterday he appealed it to the Court of Appeals. Both courts have now ruled that his 1.5-acre RV park that he's operated since 2008 on Alice Avenue near Dryden can't be grandfathered in under state and county law, and it was ordered now to be removed. The county said that in addition to operating without permits, Jones's use of the land disturbed a riparian buffer zone along the Wenatchee River. A young climber safe and recovering after a fall from an Icicle Canyon boulder. Deputy Chief Dave Nail with Chelan County Fire District Number 3 says the woman in her early 20s fell about noontime Monday when she was negotiating Toto Rock, which is a smooth granite face that a lot of climbers like to challenge themselves with. Nail says the woman suffered a broken leg in the accident, but responders were able to stabilize her at the scene and brought her to Cascade Medical Center at Leavenworth for treatment. A well-traveled intersection in East Wenatchee is going to close down for one day on either side. Coming up this weekend, the city of East Wenatchee says 4th Street Southeast is going to shut down Friday, where it intersects at South Kentucky Avenue. That's going to make way for some crucial sewer work to take place. The closure will run from 6 a.m. to 6 o'clock on Friday. Then again, from the same period on Monday, the route will stay open during the weekend. And speaking of road construction, as you know by now, the Knaps Hill Tunnel on Highway 97A is still closed as crews continue to work on the slope stabilization project. But a couple of moose that you see there apparently didn't get the memo that you can't go through the tunnel. The Washington State Department of Transportation took these photos saying, quote, normally not known as tunneling animals, these two beauties showed up on US 97A, Knaps Hill, south of Chelan over the weekend. They determined they did not meet the height requirement, and they went on their way, unquote. I don't know why it is I like about moose. Moose is like one of my favorite wildlife. I think it's because I watched a lot of Rocky and Bullwinkle when I was a kid. That's your headlines at 19 minutes after the hour. Grant Olson is on assignment. Jefferson Robbins is filling in for Grant with a preview of tonight's news. Here's Mr. Sunshine.
Good morning, Dan. I have no idea how you get up this early every day, but I'm glad to be here with you this morning. The big stories we'll be following today include the latest court action on the lawsuit to overturn Governor Jay Inslee's pandemic state of emergency. The judge is scheduled to hear the arguments this afternoon right here in Wenatchee in Chelan County Superior Court. A lot of eyes on this one as it could impact how soon Chelan and Douglas counties recover from the COVID-19 health crisis. That plus all the other news, some sports and weather from Eric Granstrom, and me, Jefferson Robbins, on the NCW Life Evening News tonight at 5, 6, and 10. Back to you, Dan. I'm going back to bed.
Thanks, Jefferson. You want to drop us a note? You got a news tip? You want to just say hi? Well, there's any number of ways you can do it. You can go to our Facebook page, give us a thumbs up while you're at it, and you can comment or drop us a line via Facebook Messenger. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. That's our email address. Or you can go to our website, ncwlife.com, and you can either submit a news tip or drop us a line with the Contact Us icon at the top of the screen. Going to take a break. When we come back, if you're a fan of high school football, things are looking a little dicey this autumn. Also, sad news for the Wenatchee High School athletic program, and we're back to playing baseball in a bit. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Owner Andrew Vickery brings years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spas, both new and used, as well as residential and commercial pool and spa services, regular maintenance and repairs, and all the chemicals required to keep your pool and spa crystal clear. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa today.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Back out of the 22 minutes after the hour sports, the WIAA came out with guidelines for schools that are trying to return to sports this fall. And unless we reach phase 4 of the Safe Start Washington plan, football, high school football, could very well be in jeopardy. Football and wrestling, not surprisingly, are considered the high-risk sports by the WIAA. In the return to activity guidelines, of course, there's a highly increased potential for exposure to respiratory droplets in football and wrestling. Any such sport can only feasibly return in phase 4 of the Safe Start plan. Moderate risk sports include soccer, volleyball, and relay swimming. The lower risk sports, cross-country running and swimming as an individual, that's just for fall sports. We don't even know about winter or even next spring for that matter. Mick Hoffman is the executive director of the WIAA, and he says he's guardedly optimistic about the return of high school sports this fall, but he says we can't rush into anything.
The key to us having the opportunity for students to compete and participate in the fall is going to depend on how healthy we come into that situation. And as we fine-tune and perfect these guidelines, we're hoping that we'll be able to play throughout the fall. If we have people that get out there too quickly, and several people have challenged the state and myself, as well as our team, on why aren't we doing it more like other states? And what we are now seeing is those other states that went too fast are having to go really slow to catch back up. And we want to make sure to make consistent progress to give every child in our state that wants to participate in our education-based activities the opportunity to do that this fall. So again, thank you very much to the Department of Health, OSPI, and the Governor's Office for your time in researching these and approving them. And good luck to all of you as we commence our summer and eventually our fall activities.
Now, the guidelines include specific directives on gathering limitations. Obviously, participants will need to be screened, staff will need to be screened, social distancing, practice recommendations, game recommendations, phase-related tier structure. There's a lot going on here. We've reached out to local area high school athletic directors to respond to the guidelines and some sort of prediction, perhaps, on what sports we may see or not see come September. Stay tuned. I was back in April. James Elwin went on a jog. He was trying to stay healthy during the pandemic crisis. By the end of the day, he was struggling with his thoughts, couldn't put his brain together, and he was also noticed that he was dragging a foot. So he went to the ER. They did a scan, and they found that the Wenatchee High School swimming coach had a mass on his brain. The race was on, but the battle with cancer could not be won. Saturday, James Elwin passed away. A GoFundMe page was set up shortly after being hospitalized in April. The goal was $7,500. It currently $75,000. It currently sits at over $40,000. The outpouring of support for James Elwin and his family has been incredible. Yeah, $7,500 was the original goal. They raised over $40,000. Elwin began coaching in the Wenatchee girls program back in 2005. The girls team, 12 district titles in 14 years, placed at state each of the past 7 years. The boys program has placed in the top 3 at state in each of the past 3 years. He was recently selected as the WIAA 4A Boys Swimming Coach of the Year. Wenatchee High School offered Zoom video conferences yesterday, by the way, to support students and staff. James Elwin was young, just 51 years old. Better news this morning. After 3 months of negotiations, if you will, between Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association, we have an agreement. We'll be playing baseball in the year 2020. A unanimous vote by the owners of Major League Baseball on Monday basically imposes a 60-game schedule, which would have players reporting to home facilities July 1st, and they'll start playing on either July 23rd or July 24th. That means the Mariners will appear at T-Mobile Park for the first time since last September 29th. Seattle had to get the go-ahead from Governor Jay Inslee to allow the Mariners to begin spring training in the Emerald City. King County is entering phase 2 of the 4-phase reopening plan, but the governor gave permission for professional sports teams to resume practices and activities without fans on June 6th. The noose found hanging in Bubba Wallace's garage at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama apparently had been there since at least last October. Federal authorities reported their findings to NASCAR on Tuesday. No charges are going to be filed because no crime was committed. U.S. Attorney Jay Town and FBI Special Agent in charge Johnny Sharp Jr. said an investigation determined that although the noose is now known to have been in garage number 4 in 2019, nobody could have known Mr. Wallace would be assigned to that garage until last week. The noose was reported by one of Wallace's crew members on Sunday night. Sunday's race was delayed by weather, but by the time they resumed racing on Monday, NASCAR and the world of NASCAR knew of the finding, and they rallied to support Bubba Wallace. Yeah, we're excited. The checkered flags are going to fly once again Saturday at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. 4 classes of racing will take place at the quarter-mile asphalt track on Fancher Heights, and we will be there. Fans, you can't be there. No, you can't attend because of the pandemic, but you can watch all the action on this very TV station beginning at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. Time trials will be followed by racing at 6:30. You got the Bandoleros, you got the Plum Perfect Roadrunners, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars, and the Jerry's Auto Supply Pro Late models wrapping up the night. The Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning opening night at the races. We'll have it for you live right here Saturday night on the NCW Life Channel, and that's sports at 28 minutes after the hour. We're already up to 75 degrees. Forecast high of 90. We may get a little above that. Don't know. 2 obscure holidays to choose from today. Today is National Parchment Day. They used to, of course, write on parchment. They're not bringing that back. Nope, we're going to go with National Praline Day, or Praline, depending on where you live. Of course, praline is a type of candy. It's made from nuts and syrup. It's basically just a whole bunch of sugar, and that's basically all there is. The creation of pralines, or pralines, if you will, nobody really knows. It is almost certainly, however, a French delicacy. Most people believe that, and since the French were the ones who came over and settled in Louisiana back in the day, where both sugar and nuts were widely available, it became quite a big treat down in New Orleans, and then the Orleans chefs began to add their own little, addition to pralines or pralines. Again, it depends on where you live. The French call it, in the New Orleans along the Gulf Coast, where pralines are readily available. They pronounce it praline. In many other parts of the country, including in the Northeast and Texas, they call it praline. Either way, it tastes good. Really bad for you, but they taste good. And I can never eat just one praline or praline. Again, individual results may vary. It's the bottom of the hour. Today in history. Today is an anniversary of one of the most terrible things that ever happened in baseball history. I don't know why we have that up there. It was 74 years ago today, June 24th, 1946. 9 members of the Spokane Indians baseball team, they were on their way from Spokane to Bremerton over Snoqualmie Pass. Snoqualmie Pass was not an interstate. It was not I-90. It was a 2-lane highway. It was known as Highway US 10. They had just cleared the summit of Snoqualmie Pass. They were heading westbound down the hill, and there was a wrong-way driver coming up the wrong way on Snoqualmie Pass. The bus had to swerve to avoid the car driving the wrong way. It jumped a guardrail. The bus plunged 350 feet down a ravine. It burst into flames, and 9 members of the Spokane Indians were killed. Among those killed was Wenatchee resident Mel Cole, who was not only the manager of the Spokane Indians, he was also the starting catcher. By the way, the driver of the vehicle that caused the crash was never found or identified. One of the tragedies in baseball history happened right here in our own backyard 74 years ago today. You briefly saw a photo of the Berlin Blockade. It started on this date 72 years ago today, for those of you who remember. Of course, Berlin was in the middle of East Germany, but there was sections within Berlin that were free, and they got all of their supplies by land, and they had to go through East Germany to get to West Germany. Well, that didn't sit so well with communist East Germany, so they simply closed all access to West Berlin via land. So every road, every railroad, every canal were blocked by the Soviets, and they said, we're just going to starve you out and just take over Berlin. So the only way they could supply West Berlin with food and fuel and other necessities was by air, and so they just started flying them in over and over and over again. The start of the Berlin Blockade began on this date 72 years ago today, when the Soviet Union made it impossible to travel between West Germany and West Berlin. It failed, as you might imagine. And finally, this is the 10th anniversary of an event that just made sports people, even non-tennis fans, go, what? June 24th of 2010, 10 years ago today, John Isner of the United States defeated Nicolas Mahut of France at Wimbledon, the longest match in tennis history by far. It took 11 hours and 5 minutes to play. It took 3 days to play. The final score of this tennis match, 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70, 68. 183 games, by far the longest match in tennis history, both by time and by number of games. In fact, the final set alone, just the final set, lasted longer than any previous match ever played, and it can never happen again because they changed the rules shortly after that, saying when we get to the 5th set, we do a tiebreaker now, so we don't go to 70, 68. The longest match in tennis history, which, unless they change the rules again, will never be surpassed. Bet you those guys were tired. And you can tell by looking at the photo which one won and which one lost 33 minutes after the hour. Birthdays. Speaking of sports, Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler, the great American boxer. That's Mick Fleetwood. Jack Dempsey was born in the state in 1895. Died in 1983 at the age of 87. He was the heavyweight champion of the world from 1919 to 1926, and alongside Babe Ruth was the most popular American athlete of his time. Jack Dempsey, who became a very well-known restaurateur in Manhattan. Jack Dempsey, born in the state in 1895. You briefly saw a shot of Mick Fleetwood. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Then, of course, the name of the band, Fleetwood Mack, was named after the rhythm section, Mick Fleetwood and John McVie. Together, Fleetwood Mac. Mick Fleetwood, one of the great drummers in rock and roll history, 78 years old today. Happy birthday to Mick. He is considered the guitarist because he could play anything and play it about as good as anybody ever could. Talking about Jeff Beck, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's a 2-time inductee. Of course, he was a member of the Yardbirds, was inducted back in 1992, and was inducted as a solo artist in 2009. Jeff Beck, one of the greatest guitarists ever, certainly in the top 10. You got to consider that. The great Jeff Beck is 76 years old today. Mindy Kaling celebrates a birthday. She's 41 years old today. Of course, her breakout role was in The Office, and then she did the Mindy Project, a very good show, and now she is doing a show called Never Have I Known, which is a comedy drama. Incredibly talented, not only an actress, but a writer and a producer. Mindy Kaling celebrates birthday number 41. And like almost all of my viewers, I'm into rap from Argentina. There's nothing like rap music originating from South America, specifically Argentina, and there's no greater Argentinian rapper than Dookie. Hi, Dookie. Dookie's 24 years old today. Enjoy a little rap in Argentina. Listen to a little Dookie today. Hey, we got a brand new opinion from Mike McNaughty. You have never seen this before. Mike McNaughty's opinion is coming up. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
The Meat Shop in Chelan has all the meats, homemade side dishes, sauces, and rubs you need for a summer feast. The Meat Shop opens 6 days a week to serve you in downtown Chelan.
More than a health food store, it's your good food store. Bear Foods and Cafe Creperie, a feast for the eyes and the palate.
For the Chelan Valley's most unique tasting experience, visit One Wines, a true boutique winery producing only 1 white, 1 rosé, and 1 red with a rare exceptional vintage. Limited to 800 cases per year. Visit One Wines today.
Water is essential to living. From clean drinking water for good health to clean water for your pool or spa. Central Washington Water, your water experts. With whole home water filtration systems for your home's best water. Products and supplies to keep your pool and spa water crystal clear. To a full parts department. Count on Central Washington Water for expert help. Shop screen to screen. Come in or call about a backyard consultation. Central Washington Water, your water care professionals.
At Earthwise Pet, we take an all-natural approach to wellness and nutrition. Our professional certified groomers were trained by the best in the Pacific Northwest. Our staff here at Earthwise Pet are all certified in pet nutrition. We are here to help you select the perfect food, supplement, and anything else you may need to make sure your pet is living its best and most healthy life. Earthwise Pet, Nutrition Center and Wellness Spa. Online or in the store, we are here for you.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, one of my biggest regrets in life is this. I was at a baseball game once at the Kiwanis Oval in Caldwell, New Jersey, and the opposing team's first baseman was giving the first base umpire really a hard time. He's making fun of him, ridiculing his calls, etc., and I don't know why this ump didn't toss the guy out of the game. He should have, but there were 2 outs, and there was a hit to the shortstop who threw the ball to this jerk of a first baseman. And though the throw beat the runner, the first baseman jerk's heel came off the bag before he caught the ball. Now, I was right at the first base line and I saw this. Now, the umpire called the runner safe, which he was, but the first baseman said something like, forget that. Something like that. And he and his team ran off the field as they thought there were 3 outs. Now, the umpire didn't say anything, and my regret is neither did I. Now, I was just a kid, but come on. There's just some regrets you never forget. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, And that's my opinion.
Whoop-bee, Collins Fashions is open. We are so excited to see you. We are spick and span and have safety measures in place. We are fully stocked with tees, tank, shorts, and capris. Darling sundresses that are easy care and so comfortable for our warm summer days. Sandals and flip-flops to keep your feet happy at work or play. Amazing new Brighton jewelry and handbags for you, and a wonderful gift for your loved ones. Fab service, great selection at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Why run all over town when you can get the financial services you need under one roof? The location is 521 Chelan Street right here in Wenatchee. Accounting solutions for success. Insurance from trusted choices. Real estate, the power of the edge. Personal, professional, preferable. It's all right here. Get the edge on your financial needs. Now available in Chelan as well. Get more information at augustedge.com.
How do you know when it's time to go to Boswell's Furniture? When you know the look you love, the colors you want, but need a little design help to bring it all together. With Boswell's complimentary design service, Glenn, Buffy, and Teresa guide you until your vision becomes reality. More styles, more fabrics, and more choices of quality home furnishings fill Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom so you can see it and feel it before you buy. Come into Boswell's and explore the endless possibilities of home furnishings. Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Good to see you again on this Wednesday, 75 degrees. We're starting to climb that ladder, just about 90 degrees, a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. We're going to do the forecast one more time before we cut you loose on this Wednesday, but first we want to recap what's making news on this 24th day of June. And again, Chelan and Douglas counties have fallen behind one of the standards set by Governor Jay Inslee for phased reopening of the economy under the Safe Start COVID-19 plan. Of course, the governor says for a county to move from phase 1 to phase 2, there should be no more than 25 cases per 100,000 residents in the most recent 2-week period. But in its latest report yesterday, the Chelan-Douglas Health District said Chelan County was at 33.7 cases per 100,000, Douglas County 41.4 cases per 100,000 in the past 14 days. So Chelan County now has had a total of 293 people test positive for the coronavirus. Douglas County has had 199 positive tests. Neither county currently has anybody hospitalized for the virus. Last week, for the first time, both counties fell below the 25 cases per 100,000 benchmark. Chelan and Douglas counties, as you know, are currently in a modified version of phase 1 of the reopening plan. Not so good news for our friends in Grant County. They had another spike in COVID-19 tests over the weekend. 63 new cases in Grant County were reported between Friday and Monday. That's in addition to 106 new cases reported last week. Currently, there are 7 Grant County residents hospitalized with coronavirus. The Grant County Health District said the latest cases were spread throughout the county. Some of the positive tests have been linked to a single employer, others to social gatherings or close contact with somebody with a confirmed case. Grant County was the first and hardest hit county in eastern Washington in the early days of the pandemic, but by May 23rd, they had improved enough to go to phase 2. The county had hoped to apply to go to phase 3, but of course now they have cases going right back up again. Governor Jay Inslee, as you know, yesterday afternoon announcing a statewide mandate requiring facial coverings in public to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Cases are on the rise not only in Grant County but all over the state. The statewide mandate requires people over the age of 5 to wear face coverings generally when they are out in any indoor or outdoor public space. Now, you don't have to wear a mask outdoors if you can stay more than 6 feet apart from another person, and you don't have to wear a mask indoors at home when you're hanging around with others, and you don't have to wear a mask alone in a vehicle. There's also other exemptions to the governor's order. People who cannot wear a mask for medical reasons, people who are deaf or hard of hearing, specifically when they're communicating with another person. You can't read lips when somebody is wearing a mask. And the order will recognize that, people can remove their masks when they are eating or drinking at restaurants and bars, or if they're engaged in a recreational activity, either alone or with members of their household. Dr. Stu Fried is the Chief Medical Director for Confluence Health, and he says health officials and community leaders are asking residents in the area to volunteer to be tested for COVID-19. Fried said he believes the amount of viral activity in the community is actually pretty low, and that random testing could actually prove that the amount of activity is low. For example, he said very few of the hundreds of people who are being tested at the hospital before procedures are testing positive. The volunteer testing effort includes a series of public service commercials featuring leaders in the Wenatchee Valley.
What we're looking for right now is we're working through a method of getting random names and addresses of our community so that we do a scientific sampling of the region, including out to Lake Chelan and Leavenworth, Kashmir. And then we'll be sending invitations in the mail or stuffing mailboxes, essentially, with an invitation both in English and Spanish to community members to come into a local testing site and be tested. A completely confidential testing. It's also free. Our excellent health department is picking up the tab on this. And then our organization, along with Columbia Valley Community Health, in collaboration with Cascade Medical Center, Leavenworth, and Lake Chelan Community Hospital, are kind of helping with the manpower and the organization. So this is really a collaborative effort, but we're not putting any of that burden on our citizens. All we need is a bit of their nose and a slight bit of discomfort to be tested. And then we would communicate the results. Those results are private, they're confidential, and then we communicate the results back to them.
As you all know, our community is suffering under the weight of this global pandemic.
We are collaborating with regional healthcare providers and community leaders to collect accurate information on the number of COVID-19 infections in our region in order to meet the requirements for reopening.
To collect this information, we need community members to volunteer to be tested for COVID-19.
Data from these tests are vital to getting our region's businesses open again and helping us manage future spikes in infection, protecting our community members while also keeping the economy open.
Testing is voluntary and results are completely confidential. Look for more information about this testing in your mailbox.
We value your individual health and the health of our communities. Thank you for doing your part to keep us healthy and resilient.
And a friendly reminder, by the way, at 1:30 this afternoon in the courtroom of Judge Kristen Ferreira in Chelan County Superior Court, you will be hearing the next step in that lawsuit of a group of citizens attempting to overturn Governor Jay Inslee's Safe Start Reopening initiative. That hearing is at 1:30 this afternoon. The group is hoping for a temporary restraining order, and that would allow, at least for Chelan County, to take the lead in reopening businesses. Again, that's at 1:30 this afternoon. We'll have more on this with the evening news tonight with Jefferson Robbins. If you're a business person planning ahead for phases 2, 3, or beyond during the recovery from coronavirus, you can get help today through the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce, the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. The museum will be hosting a virtual opening Q&A session with chamber staff and healthcare consultants. It starts at noon, by the way. You can join online through Zoom or Facebook Live, and all the details are on the museum's website or on the museum's Facebook page. The operator of an RV park that operated illegally for years near Dryden failed yesterday to have his condemnation overturned. His name is Jeffrey C. Jones. He first appealed to Chelan County, and that didn't work, and then he appealed to the Court of Appeals. That didn't work. Both courts have now ruled that the 1.5-acre RV park that he's operated since 2008 on Alice Avenue near Dryden can't be grandfathered in under state law and under county law, and it must be removed. The county said that in addition to operating without permits, Jones's use of the land disturbed a riparian buffer zone along the Wenatchee River. A young climber safe recovering after a fall from an icicle canyon boulder. Deputy Chief Dave Nails with Chelan County Fire District Number 3 says the woman in her early 20s fell about noontime Monday while trying to negotiate Toto Rock, which is a smooth granite face that a lot of climbers like to challenge. Nail says the woman suffered a broken leg in the accident, but responders were able to stabilize her at the scene, brought her to Cascade Medical Center in Leavenworth for treatment. Traffic heads up for this weekend. A well-traveled intersection in East Wenatchee is going to close down on Friday and on Monday because they've got some work to do. The city of East Wenatchee says 4th Street Southeast will shut down Friday where it meets up with South Kentucky, making way for some crucial sewer work to take place. The closure will run from 6 a.m. to 6 o'clock on Friday, then again from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock on Monday. The route, by the way, will stay open this weekend. And finally, the Knaps Hill Tunnel on Highway 97A. Well, no cars, but yeah, apparently a couple of moose. A pair of moose apparently didn't get the idea that you can't go through the tunnel. Tunnel's closed because of slope stabilization work. The Washington State Department of Transportation took these photos. We're quoting now. Normally not known as tunneling animals, these two beauties showed up on Knaps Hill, south of Chelan, over the weekend. They determined they did not meet the height requirement. They went along their way. Isn't there a button for bicyclists to push the button, right? That's headlines at 51 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break and come back and do your weather forecast one more time. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel. Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guests for, well, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel.
This is Caitlin Hedersheet, the producer of the NCW Life magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCW Life magazine right here on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week, we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Yeah.
There he is. Sure wish he was here.
Yeah, no kidding. Little 4-point. It's a nice kokanee.
Solid fish.
Watch the Northwest Outdoorsman with Richie Herod Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 4:30 p.m. on the NCW Life channel.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. Remember the good old days? Sunday supper at Grandma's and the best recipes being passed down through generations? Well, come on out to Blueberry Hills and find amazing food with huge portions at family-friendly prices. From Benedict's to burgers to fresh fruit pies, there is something for everyone. Don't miss Blueberry Hills, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. wildaboutberries.com.
And we're back on this Wednesday. Already 76 degrees. Our forecast high today of 90. We may get a little above that. We hit 93, by the way, officially yesterday, which was a little bit cooler than they were predicting. We have the time. We want to take one more quick tour around North Central Washington with our Valley View cameras. Once again, the cross camera does the honor. Zoomed in just a little bit. As you can see, the clouds that were fairly thick about 3 hours ago have already started to thin out. We're going to have quite a bit of sunshine today. The clouds came in late in the afternoon. In fact, I was a little concerned about a couple of thunder cells that may have developed in the foothills of the valley, but they didn't quite develop. But they did keep our temperatures down. They were predicting right around 98 or 99 yesterday. We only hit 93 as measured up at Pangbourne Memorial Airport. Camera 2, if memory serves me well. We're going to take a look at, Megan moved it again. That's still the Butte camera though, right? Yep, that's the Chelan Butte camera. An hour ago, we had that pointed at the Waterville area. Now we have it pointed in the exact opposite direction up Lake Chelan from the Butte, the upper Butte. We have two cameras on the Butte. One's the upper Butte camera, one's the lower Butte camera. That's the upper Butte camera. I can tell as we look up lake towards the Manson, Wapato Point area, and all things to the north and west of beautiful Lake Chelan, which is filled to the brim with water. Camera number 3. It's off to McNeil Canyon, but she moved it again. Megan's getting creative. I like that. That's the top of McNeil Canyon. By the way, you can see some of the guy wires that help hold up the towers. And this is a perfect example of how the Sky-Fi system works. If you live in that general area and you don't have fiber run to your house, and who's kidding who, the top of McNeil Canyon, fairly remote. If you can see that tower from your house, you might be eligible for Sky-Fi. That's high-speed internet without fiber. It's a beautiful thing. Give a local telecall. They'll take care of you. They know what they're doing. 888-8888. And then camera number 4, if I remember correctly, is Black Mountain, and it's still Black Mountain, only she zoomed it out a little bit. Oh, you turned it around? So what are we looking at then, Megan? Megan turned it around. Now we don't know what we're looking at. We were looking at, well, obviously if we were looking at Leavenworth and she turned the Black Mountain camera around, we're looking at the other way. Good morning to our friends in the Peshastin area at Black Mountain, high atop beautiful downtown Peshastin, US of A. I took a trip up there to that particular Sky-Fi site a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago now. It is a hairy drive. You gotta have real skills behind the wheel to get up there. Lots of switchbacks, a lot of ruts and rocks and stuff. But once you get there, boom, there's your payoff. That camera's got to be, I think, close to maybe even 4,000 feet in elevation. A spectacular view from the top of Black Mountain, which of course was named after the great World War I general Black Mountain. All right. Let's take a look at a couple of slides. Getting a little worried about the fire risk, folks, because we're going to have a weak cold front today. That's going to make things a little windy this afternoon. Combination of very low relative humidity, windy conditions, warm temperatures, that makes the fire risk go up a little bit here in the Wenatchee Valley. It's going to happen today, but what I'm really concerned about is over the weekend, because today's kind of a blip in the screen. Today's cold front that's passing through is dry, even though it's going to be warm and breezy later on this afternoon and into tonight. It's not going to last very long before we warm up with very little wind on Thursday and Friday. But then Friday night is when that next round, that stronger cold front comes in, and we're going to have even breezier winds and maybe even a thunderstorm. And so any kind of lightning strike could really get a fire up and rolling. We'll have more on this tomorrow, of course. A little concern there. And then we get to catch a little bit of break. If you don't like the heat, we're going to cool down and we're going to maybe get a little bit of rain. Starting June, this is the long-term outlook, the 6 to 10-day outlook, beginning late June and going through July. So we're looking at a period of cooler than normal temperatures and wetter than normal precipitation. So we have an increased chance of below normal temperatures for the inland northwest, normal being relative, right around 80, 81 is our normal high this time of the year. All right, let's take a look at the forecast one more time in depth. Again, lots of sunshine today, high of about 90. Keeping a very close eye on the wind. Wind this morning, 5 to 10 miles an hour, picking up in intensity to about 15, 16 miles an hour this afternoon, gusts above that at times. 61 for the overnight low tonight as the wind dies down, cold front leaves, warm up to 94 on Thursday, 96 on Friday. And then Friday night, here comes the second cold front. This one's packing quite a bit of punch. So starting Friday night, it's going to get windy. We're talking winds about 8 to 14 miles an hour Friday night as the clouds thicken up. Saturday, quite a bit of sunshine, very breezy at times on Saturday. A lot cooler, as you can see, with a high of only 85 degrees. Saturday night, partly cloudy, breezy, overnight low of about 57. We start talking about rain and thunderstorms late in the afternoon on Sunday. And right on into Monday, it's still early summertime, so we do have instability in the atmosphere, and we'll keep a very close eye on what the Weather Service thinks might be an elevated fire risk come later on in the week. And that's it for us. Have a good and safe Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.